I don't know. But anyway, it's just mind blowing. You know, I've shared all these things with a number of different people in the states. Here I haven't, but a lot of people in the states know this, and they ask me this, mighty soul. They ask me this. You'll already know the answer to this, but they ask me, James, how in the hell did you ever make it through 2 years of dating with her, with your, with the wife, ex-wife, and 12 years of marriage? How is it that you did it and didn't commit adultery? Well, I'll say it for everybody that's getting this, okay? But you already know it, mighty soul, and that was because you heard it many times, and that is that my marriage was not going to fail or be destroyed as my father, my natural biological father, had done, which he destroyed our family by committing adultery. That wasn't going to happen, no matter what, and it never did. Oh, but you'd accuse me of committing adultery. You accused me of committing homosexuality. What didn't you? You know, and I try to figure out why, and I know why. And it's like I said, in Ian on Facebook, when he wrote to me, mighty soul, you never wanted a man in your life to love. You never wanted a husband in your life. You can't. You're damaged. And what you wanted was someone to, like Ian said, you needed a sperm donor. And you got that with Michael too, naturally, with Ian. But you wanted more children. And you thought, and I'll give this credit, I believe that you honestly thought that from the sexual point of your sexual problems, that those were gone. Okay. And, but they weren't. Right? You don't have healing. And I say this to your father, because he's going to be getting these too. And that is Jorge Busquets, Dr. Jorge Busquets. I'm going to tell you something right now. And I think I've already said it in the videos there and all that. If you touched Mighty Soul, that was you. Somebody did. There's no way that a woman has the problems that she has with a man, with especially a husband. That ain't normal under any circumstances. Something had to have happened. And like I said, Frank Sullivan, all these pastors, everybody who knows the whole story, they all say the same thing. Something happened to you, mighty soul, sexually, as a child or as a young teen, and all that. But Jorge Busquets, I'm going to tell you, doctor, this. If that was you, you got till the day that you take your last breath to say to mighty soul you're sorry and to help her in her healing. And let me tell you something, if you don't and you die, you take that last breath without being done so, let me tell you something. You're going to be in for a great big surprise, especially after destroying 2 marriages in her life and destroying her life and so on. You know, I'm going to talk to you about this. You know, after going all these people, all these pastors, even Armando Cruz, Jesse, and many others about everything, they're all saying the same thing. It points to you, Dr. Jorge Busquets, as being the one. But I remember when I was talking after I had gone to that psychologist at the Tulsa Rape Center, and we had met for an hour and a half too. I think I've already talked about that in one of the videos. And even after that, it was after that, not too long ago, that you told me that Katia had had dreams in which I, her father, was raping her. Let me tell you something. I was crushed. How could my daughter have such a dream? Such a horrible dream. And Katia, I want you to listen really close to this. I want you to listen to this really close. I fought for you in every way, shape, or form. But I'm going to tell you this, and you listen to this very close. I went back to Frank Sullivan at Victory Christian Center and talked about that dream. And this was before it, so to speak, got out. This was before I started talking to Armando Cruz and Jesse about all this stuff. And Frank Sullivan said this to me. He said, James, if you bring this out in relation to what everyone agrees on, that is that mighty soul was sexually molested, you will not see your marriage restored. It'll be fully destroyed. And I said to Frank, I said to him, I understand that totally. And I said, but Frank, Marisol won't sit down and talk about this for the protection of our daughter. So I'm going to ask you a question, Frank. If you had to choose, and this was you, and you had to choose between your daughter and your marriage, when your wife doesn't want to go into this arena for the protection of your daughter, would you choose the marriage or would you choose your daughter? I don't remember. I think 5-10 seconds he sat there, and then he said, I do the same thing you're doing, James. I would choose my daughter. I said, I know that, Frank. I know that you would do that. And that's when afterwards I started talking, trying to get someone to talk to you. Armando Cruz with Monica, I think Monica's his wife. Jesse, someone for you to sit down and for the sake of our daughter. But see, even our daughter, Marisol, didn't matter to you. Didn't matter to you. But anyway, I eventually went to, after the dream, I needed someone to explain the dream to me. So, and understand this, I didn't go to psychiatrists for counseling for me. I went for someone. So I found I went to a psychiatrist, talked to a psychiatrist on the phone. It was interesting. He was only going to talk to me for 5 minutes. We ended up talking for over an hour. And the psychiatrist was a lady. Went through the whole story, everything that you've heard on these videos in relation to the marriage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that I talked to 3. 2 were women and 1 was a male. I think it was the man that I talked to first. And listen to this really carefully. And I explained everything about the marriage, but I also explained what happened that day when you sold out our family for 30 pieces of silver. And the psychiatrist says to me, he goes, James, that wasn't your wife's father who kicked you out of the marriage and all. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? He said, that wasn't her father. Listen, we got in a heated verbal fight on the phone. And I appreciate that he hung on. He didn't know me from Adam, but he hung on. And he kept saying to me, James, that wasn't her father. I said, what are you talking about? It wasn't her father. I was there. We were in his condominium. He's sitting across from me, and her mother, his wife, is there, and my wife is right there next to me. And he's talking to me, and he's telling her that. I said, what are you talking about? It's not her father. I was there, and just major argument over it, and then it's just mind blowing. It is just mind blowing. And then this conversation lasted for 15 to 20 minutes, and he kept saying to me, "I'm trying to get you to see something." Well, let me tell you, I couldn't see it. 15, 20 minutes. And he said, finally he said, James, you don't see it. But I'm going to tell you. And he said, James, that wasn't her father that threw you out. That was her lover. Whoa. I was totally, it was like somebody had hit me in the stomach and knocked all the air out of me. 100%. He said, that was her lover. He said, James, understand this. A father, one who is a father to a daughter, would never, ever do what was done to you. No way. That's not a father. But a lover will kick you out of the house. Blew me away. Ain't that right, Dr. Busquets? Isn't that right?